Good morning to you all. I'm sure you're the valence electrons still, the ones that I've already taught also. I always call the ones that comes to these classes my valence electrons. Or maybe you're just the ones that panic most. I don't know. Okay, today we're going to do reaction rate and chemical equilibrium. Boys and girls, this is very important today, and then it's last part of the theory, but then also the next few Saturdays we're going to work through old question papers. So please make sure you attend the classes. We're going to look at the structure of papers, things where you usually you lose marks. Today I'm going to teach chemistry. But when I mark at the end of the year, and even when I'm marking at the June exam, then I'm a deputy chief marker. So I'm actually at the physics, but today I'm going to teach chemistry. Okay, but this is the chemistry I also love. But I started marking physics and I'm still there. Now, just for interest's sake now, to tell you the importance of today's lesson, if you look at paper 2 in the exam, the first question is always the multiple choice question. So it's the multiple choice question. Then question 2, 3, and 4, that is organic chemistry. Now, organic chemistry counts more than half of the paper, which gives you 80 out of 150 marks. So it's more or less half, but it's more than half of the paper, the organic chemistry. Now, the first part is usually question 2 is naming the compounds, draw the structures. That is question 2. Question 3 is the physical properties. That is boiling point, melting point, vapor pressure that you must discuss. Oh, and then your favorite, the organic reactions. And you know, for June, it's the first time that you're going to write on organic reactions, and that will be question 4. And out of that, 80 marks. Question 4 counts 30 of that 80 marks. So it's very important. And then question 5 and 6. 5 is usually reaction rate. And question 6, chemical equilibrium. They count 70 out of 150. So what I'm going to do today is half of the paper. Okay, so that is really very important work. And you must please now concentrate on the work. Usually in June, they split this, that there's 2 questions on 5 and there's 2 questions on number 6, because we haven't done all the work yet. So that means question 5, what they do, they split it in an experiment type of question, where they give you an experiment and they ask you, you must identify the variables, what did you change in the reaction, things like that. And then also there's a question on graphs, the Maxwell-Boltzmann graphs and the graphs on reaction rate. If you look at question 6, it's also usually one with theory in it, like Le Chatelier's principle and the theory part. And then there's also the graphs. And on the theory part, there's also calculating Kc. Okay, so now for June, there will be 2 questions on reaction rate and 2 questions on chemical equilibrium. At the end of the year, and even in the record exam in September, it will be 1 question reaction rate, 1 question chemical equilibrium, because the extra questions is going to be acid and base, my favorite, and then 2 questions on redox reactions. Okay, but for now, question 2, 3, 4, organic chemistry, and then 5 and 6 will be reaction rate and chemical equilibrium. So it's very important now that you still attend the classes, because we're going to work through old question papers and the structure of the paper and what you can get in the paper. Okay, now for today's lesson, you will see I made you a summary. You don't have to write these down. Mr. Grobler will put it with my lesson on the website. So I will give this to him. I'm first going to do equilibrium. Because I want to get to the Kc values before you are very tired. Then I can do reaction rate. Now, boys and girls, just for explaining it very simple. Reaction rate, you just want to get results quickly. It doesn't matter how much you get. So you just want to get this June exam over and done with. If I fail, okay, it's okay. If I pass, okay, it's okay. I just want to get it over and done with. That is reaction rate. If you want to do chemical equilibrium, it will take you longer to reach your goal, but you will obtain the most marks that you are able to do. So maybe you're not going to get a distinction now. You're going to get a 60 or a 70, but then you're going to work harder and more. And when you get to the record exam or the final exam, you're going to get your distinction. Or the other way, maybe you're not going to pass now, but then you're going to work very hard and you're going to get a 50 or a 60 in September or the end of the year. Anything is possible if you just work very hard. And if you're diligent, you can do anything. Okay, so now I'm going to look at chemical equilibrium first in the questions that we're going to do also. You will see that there's some factors that influencing chemical equilibrium. That's my type of summary. I like to do everything in tables. You won't find this on your notes. I'm only going to give it to, I made it yesterday, so I'm going to give it to Mr. Grobler. There's a change in state. There's actually just 3 words that you can do. The last one, I can take it out here because a catalyst can only get you the results faster, but not more. So a catalyst doesn't change the equilibrium. It just changes the reaction rate. So even in your life, there's a catalyst. It's called your mother. They say, Sipho, you must go and study now. Sipho, when are you going to study? Have you studied now? How long did you study? You know those catalysts at home? Okay. You don't like it, but we want to give you the best we can. But then you must also do your part. Okay, so that is the catalyst. So even if your mom tells you, go and study, you must still do it. Otherwise, it doesn't help. You just say, sit behind your books and you don't do anything. That doesn't help. So catalyst cannot give you more. It can only give you faster. So there's just 3 words that you can use. The first word is concentration. The second word is pressure. And the third word is temperature. But if you say concentration, you see I put something in brackets. You must write the concentration of what? You can't just say, and please, boys and girls, please don't just say you change the concentration. What? Did you increase it? Did you decrease it? And the concentration of what? And then even you can't change the concentration of a solid or a pure liquid. Only the ones with the tails, the gases and the aqua. So I always tell my kids, just change the one with the tails, the G and the Q. Okay, so if you do concentration of reagents, you must say what reagent. So you're going to say the concentration of nitrogen gas is increased. So you must write something there. Now in plain English, if you put more in on the left-hand side, the equilibrium is going to shift to the right, the opposite side. If I put more in on the right, it's going to shift left. Just remember, equilibrium is like teens. They always want to do the opposite that I tell you. Please don't go to the bathroom. Ma'am, can I go to the bathroom, please? Don't ask me how late is going to be the time for break. How long is the period? When is break? Okay. So the same with the equilibrium. It's only going to do the opposite. So put it in on the right, it's going to move to the left. Put it in on the left, it is going to move to the right. So that's plain English. It's not nice science language, but that is what it's doing in the equilibrium. Even if you take out at the left, then it must move to the left to make it more again. If I take out at the right, it must move to the right to replace the things that I've taken out. Okay, pressure. Please remember pressure only for gases. And if they say there's an increase in volume, you can't write the disturbance is the increase in volume. You must write it is a decrease in pressure. Just remember just 3 words: concentration, pressure, temperature. And you can't even say, I've put more nitrogen into the system. More nitrogen is not one of my words. Okay. Then the pressure. Pressure is about the amount of collisions in a certain area. So if I'm alone in this area, I won't have many collisions because I can't collide with myself. But if all of you come to me now and you stand here, then there's going to be a lot of collisions because there's a lot of particles. And then if I have a lot of collisions, then the pressure is going to be high. I'm going to feel, there's a lot of people around me, a lot of pressure. Okay, so that is the pressure in a certain area. It's about the particles and how fast they move. Okay, so if you want to increase the pressure, how does the system decrease? It moves to the smallest amount of mole. Even my husband tells me, when I drive to a certain place, he say I take always the longest routes on the outside of town to get there. Because I don't like a lot of cars. Okay, they give me anxiety. I don't like it. Okay, so I drive where there's less cars. And I come to the same place even faster sometimes. Okay, then temperature increase. If I increase the system, what does it want to do? It wants to decrease. So now it's going to take in that temperature. We call that endothermic. So if I decrease the temperature, then it's exothermic. Okay, so I've made you a summary there. Then the other thing that's important, if you discuss anything in this question, which is usually question 6, then there's a certain pattern. You must give a recipe to do the work. So this is now a science recipe. I have science recipe books. Okay, so there's my recipe. Just plug in and play. Just use it like this, identical. So you're going to say identify the disturbance. So you're going to write a disturbance. There was an increase in temperature. Then you're going to write this sentence. According to Le Chatelier's principle, the system will react to, then it's the opposite of the disturbance. It wants to decrease the temperature by, reason out of the table, by shifting in the direction of the endothermic reaction. And then forward goes with right and reverse goes with left. So I'm going to use this recipe when I explain the question now. And then just at the bottom, in quickly a summary, Kc is a ratio between the products and the reagents of the forward reaction. So if Kc is more than 1, it is a high yield. If Kc is less than 1, it is a low yield. If I talk money, when I put in a lot of reagents, I want a lot of products because I want to sell them. So it makes economic sense if I put in 10 Rand and I can get out 200 Rand. That makes sense. So that is a high yield. That is a Kc bigger than 1. But if I put in 200 Rand and I only get out 100 Rand or 10 Rand, it doesn't make sense. Then it's a low yield. So we want to strive for a high yield. And the only thing that can affect Kc is temperature. That's the only thing. Not concentration, not pressure, because then the changes that you make cancel each other out, so that doesn't affect. So the only thing affecting Kc is temperature. Okay, boys and girls, we're going to use this page now to answer the question. So I want you to go to this question that says there at the top, DBE 2023. It's a question 6. DBE 2023. Okay. Boys and girls, if I have this question, before I do anything further, I take my pen and I circle those things in brackets, the phases. So they're all gases. Then I'm going to write the amount of gas on the left-hand side. It's 2 moles of gas. And on the right-hand side, 1 plus 1, it's also 2 moles of gas. So in this case, it will make no sense to change the pressure of the system because it is 2 moles versus 2 moles, so it doesn't change. If they have a delta H, I'm also going to write endo-exothermic, but there's no delta H in this case. So if I haven't even read the question. The first two things that I do, I identify the amount of mole of gas, and then if it's endo-exothermic, in this case, I can't do the second one. Okay, now I start reading. 1 mole of pure hydrogen iodine gas. So I'm going to write 1 mole of iodine gas, HI, is sealed in a 1 cubic decimeter container at 721 Kelvin. Equilibrium is reached according to the following balanced equation. It is found that 0.11 moles of I2 are present at equilibrium. Okay, so do you see I'm looking for certain words and numbers when I read the question. Okay, 6.1. State Le Chatelier's principle. That is a definition that you must know. And please, there's 2 definitions that you must know. Le Chatelier's principle and chemical equilibrium. Either the one or the other one you're going to get. Okay. But you can have a look there in your exam guidelines. I'm not going to write that down. Okay, 6.2. Determine the number of moles of each of the following at equilibrium, H2 and HI. Okay, now I'm going to do the table. Although it counts just 1 mark and 1 mark, it just makes in my head more sense to do the table. Okay, I got a cheat sheet. I already made my table. Okay, so 2HI gives me H2 plus I2. Okay, so there's my table. The left-hand side of the table will always be the same. The amount of columns depends on your chemical equation that is given. Okay, now I just want to show you why does it make more sense for me. Initially, they said I put in 1 mole. And I had nothing and I had nothing because the reaction is still going to take place. So I had nothing of those 2. Then they told me at equilibrium, this is now this row, at equilibrium there's 0.11 moles of I2 present. Now how does this table work? You need this change in mole, that part, to complete the table. And for that, where my pink arrow is, I need a mole ratio. Okay, so now I see I had nothing and now 0.11. Now, boys and girls, I hope you were all in grade 1. Because now actually you're black in grade 1. Just with a 2 behind it. But do you remember those calculations you did, that 1 plus 2 equals 3. Do you remember that? Many moons ago, you did that. The circle is now completed. I'm doing it again. Okay, so we'll see if your grade 1 teacher did a great job. Okay, this is your answer row. So the same as this was your answer row, this is my answer row. So now I see I had nothing and now 0.11. So it is minus plus plus. It's not always in that order. It depends on the equilibrium. But in this case, the HI become less to form the H2 and the I2. Now I get 0 plus something is 0,11. So this must be 0,11. So let me write it in pink. That is 0,11. Now I just use my mole ratio. So if that one is 0,11, the mole ratio is 1 to 1. If there stands nothing, it's a 1. So if that one is 0,11, this one is 0,11 as well. This one on the right hand side, 0,11. Now to get the other one, I always multiply with the one furthest away, divide with the one on top. So I take the 0,11, I multiply it by 2, and I divide it by 1. So I'm going to say 0,11 times 2 divided by 1 gives me 0,22. Okay, and then I just subtract and I get 0,78 and I get 0,11. Okay, this was now a long way to tell you just for 2 marks. Maybe you could have guessed, but that is the reason. How do I get it? I'm not going to complete now the bottom row because I was just asked the number of moles. So that means 6.2.1's answer will be 0,11. So this is for 6.2.1 because that is what was asked, this one. And then for 6.2.2, this is what was asked, the answers. Okay, so 6.2.1 is 0,11 mole. And 6.2.2 is 0,78 moles. Okay, so that is how did I arrive at the answer? Okay, 6.3.1. The question now tells me the equilibrium constant Kc at 721 is 0,02. So they give me Kc. The temperature is now increased. So this is very important, né? The temperature is increased to 850. So I know now that the Kc will change, which is now 0,09. So the Kc increased because of the temperature increase. Is the forward reaction exo or endothermic? I don't know. 6.3.2, fully explain your answer. Boys and girls, you're lucky. Due to COVID, you're lucky. Because in grade, before COVID, if you guessed exothermic and it was wrong, we didn't even mark 6.3.2. Okay, if you guessed endothermic and it was the right answer, or you guessed exothermic and it was the right answer, then we read 6.3.2. Now, if you guessed one of the two and it was wrong, we just mark 6.3.1 wrong, but we still read 6.3.2 and give you marks where you can get marks. So lucky, thank you COVID. We're lucky. Okay, so just think about it. Okay, 6.3.1. I don't know the answer because it wasn't given anywhere. So what I'm now going to do, you remember that page of mine? I'm going to do my recipe. I identify the disturbance. So number 1, I'm going to identify the disturbance. In this case, I'm not going to get a mark for it because they told me so. Okay, they said the temperature is increased. So I'm going to say there was a temperature increase. So in this case, you're going to write it. You must complete your story. You can't just start in the middle of the story. Start at the beginning. Don't skip steps. Okay, please use your steps. So don't skip them. Temperature increase. Although I'm not going to get a mark, I must start somewhere. Number 2. Now I'm going to write exactly like they say, according to Le Chatelier. According to Le Chatelier's principle, the system will react to decrease the temperature. So it means it is the opposite of the top. So the system will react to decrease the temperature. Okay, now I must get a reason from the table. So I get to the by favoring the direction of the endothermic reaction. Okay, so it's a very long story, but that is what you have to write. So the temperature increase, that's my disturbance. And then you write. So this is theory. So I don't have to know anything except my theory to answer, to come up to there. Okay, so I already got 1 out of 3. Because I said the system wants to decrease the temperature by favoring the direction of endothermic. So I already got 1 out of 3. Okay, now for number 3. I must say, is the forward or the reverse reaction favored? In this case, I don't know. So now I must make a plan. What plan do I make? I'm looking at the Kc value. The Kc was 0.02, it's now 0.09. So what happened? The Kc increased. It increased from 0.02 to 0.09. And what is Kc? It's the concentration of the products divided by the concentration of the reagents. Now, how do I get it to increase? To increase the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, I must increase the products and I must decrease the reagents. So then the total will then be increased. So if I can get it right. Just remember, Kc is written for the forward reaction. So my products for forward increases. So that means in step number 3, my forward reaction was favored because there's more products forward. So the forward reaction was favored, and then the equilibrium point shifted to the right. Okay, so now I see the following. If I see the forward reaction was favored and the endothermic reaction was favored, what does that mean? It means that my forward reaction is endothermic. So that answer is endothermic. Okay, so if I favor two things, I favor the forward and I favor the endothermic, then it means the forward reaction is endothermic. The forward reaction is not always endothermic. And also remember that delta H is given for the forward reaction. So delta H is given for the forward reaction, but in this case, the forward reaction was favored and the endothermic reaction was favored. So that means it is endothermic in this case. Okay, but you see, just remember, when you were in grade 11, maybe it was easy to complete a chemistry paper. It is easy, you have time left, you can sleep or leave earlier, whatever. But now in grade 12, you have to write a lot of sentences for just 1 mark. Because you're going to write a lot at collision theory. You're going to write a lot at the question on organic chemistry, physical properties. You're going to write a lot here for not many marks. So you must write to finish the paper. Don't play and don't sit like this and count the amount of tiles and, oh yeah, wag bietjie, I must write again. There's no time. And even in a physics paper, if you drop your pen, you're not going to finish the paper. So you must write. Rather leave an open space. If you can't do that question immediately, go on, because sometimes you sit on question 3, vertical projectile motion, and then you don't finish an easy Doppler question maybe at the end. So just continue, please. Don't sit there the whole time. Continue, and then you can come back rather at the end. Okay, so let's look at 6.3.3. Now they say KC. And boys and girls, stoichiometry is very important. In grade 10, we did a separate chapter. In grade 11, we did a separate chapter. But now, we assume, the science word, the hypothesis of the science teacher is that you know all about stoichiometry now. So you can apply it in any topic in chemistry, even organics. They like to ask, calculate the empirical formula of an ester. Okay, so anywhere it comes in now. But that is now maths and science coming together. Oh, it's nice. Okay. So you can see I'm a numbers person. Okay, 6.3.3. I'm going to write the reaction again. 2HI gives me H2 plus I2. Okay, there's my reaction. Now they ask you, okay, now it's very important. If I look here, Kc is 0.02. So that means if I completed that first table of mine, I would have get that Kc is 0.02. But now they say Kc is now 0.09. So it increased. Okay, calculate the mass of HI present at the new equilibrium. Boys and girls, this whole table, the first 3 rows, is only on mole. So I can't put a mass in there, I can't put a concentration in there. The first 3 rows is just on mole. So I can only use mole there. The last row is on concentration. Okay, now I don't have a clue how to do the table, but at least you can write me the Kc expression and you can get 1 out of 8 already. So yes, 1 is better than 0. Okay. Always the right over the left. So it means it's going to be HI times I2, and it must be square brackets, because the square brackets means the concentration of that thing inside the bracket. Divided by HI, and the balancing number is the power. Okay, so that there's a 2 in front of the HI, so that is why I squared it. It's to the power of 2 because the balancing number is 2. Okay. I got 1 out of 8. Now I must do the thing, but now, boys and girls, why I've chosen this question, it's an exception, because I've already reached equilibrium once. So now, what I must do here, and this is a difficult one, but I wanted this to do it for you. There was my initial one. I start out from scratch. I just put in HI in my container. I had 0 of those. I had to form it in my reaction. Now you've reached equilibrium for the first time. The second one is you must start with the end of this one. That is why I've done this table. It was a lot of work for 2 marks, but now you will see how easy it's going to be. I'm going to use that last row to start my table with. So I'm going to say 0.78. This 0.78, 0.11, and 0.11. So the end of table 1 is the start of table 2, because I've already Kc means I've already reached equilibrium once, and that was at 721 Kelvin. So now I'm going to reach equilibrium for the second time, and that is at 850 Kelvin. So that is the end of the first one, is the beginning of the second one. Okay, now boys and girls, they don't give me anything else except the Kc value. So I can write in 0.09. Okay, that is all what is given. Oops. So now I have a problem. But luckily we do have maths, eh? Okay. So if I have maths, then I can use X here. So you will see I've used this one now because it is different than all the others. Now the Kc increased, so that means I must form more products, so they will become more, but then Hi must become less. So now I must use X. I don't know. So I'm going to use an X and an X because the ratio is 1 and 1. And then I use this one, 2X. If you really wanted to, you can use the first one as X, but then the other one must be 0.5X. That is too difficult for me. So I decided at 2X and X and X. Now I'm just going to do my maths. 0.78 minus 2X. 0.11 plus X. 0.11 plus X. They told me it was a 1 cubic decimeter container. Boys and girls, the last row. I'm just telling you now all the marker secrets. Shh, you mustn't tell them. The whole table is incorrect, but you show us that you divide it by the volume, you get 1 mark. So then I can already get 2 out of 8, or although everything is wrong, I can get 2 out of 8. And I can get another one. My mole ratio is correct, so I got 3 out of 8, and I don't know anything actually, but I got 3 out of 8. Okay, so, but now, please, a science teacher is not a good guesser. That's why I don't play the lotto. I don't win because I can't guess numbers. Okay, so the important thing is you must show me, and this is stupid, divided by 1, but I want to show that divided the division by 1. So please show me that, then you can get a mark. So you already, if you don't know anything, you already got a mark. Okay, but you must show that division by 1, please, that's important. And then you write 0.78 minus 2x, 0.11 plus x, 0.11 plus x. But don't leave out that, and now I must guess how did you get from that block to that block. I'm not a good guesser. Okay, boys and girls, now we're going to do some maths. So now I must just put in 0.11 plus x, 0.11 plus x, divided by 0.78 minus 2x, and I must square it. Okay, I don't like the fraction, so 0.09. 0.78 minus 2x squared equals, and the top 2 brackets are the same, so I can write 0.11 plus x squared. But please, initially, you have to put them in separately because there's 2 things at the top of the equation. I want 2 things at the top of the equation. When I do the maths, I can do the squaring then, but don't square them from the beginning. Okay, now you see all those squares. I'm not going to multiply all those brackets out and get those equations. I'm going to take the square root now. So what I'm going to do the square root on both sides. So if I square them, it's going to be 0.3, 0.78 minus 2x, and 0.11 plus x. Okay, so I've taken the square root throughout the whole system. Okay, but now I still have to do my multiplication. So I take the 0.3 And just remember to multiply with both in the brackets. And I got 0,234 minus 0,6x equals 0,11 plus x. Now I'm just doing some maths. 0,234 minus 0,11 equals 0,6x plus x. Right, so 0,124 equals 1,6x. And if I divide by 1,6 on both sides, I get 0,0775 moles. But please now, don't round it now, because I haven't finished the calculation. So please don't round it now. I haven't finished the calculation. Okay, but now I'm still not finished with the question. They say calculate the mass. I only have mole now. I want the mass. Which one do I have? Do I want? It is HI. So if I look at HI in my table, so I see for HI at equilibrium, it's 0,78 minus 2x. That is my amount of mole. So it's now 0,78 minus 2 times 0,0775. And I got 0,625 mole. So the actual number of mole is 0,625. But I still haven't answered the question fully because they asked the mass. So I'm now going to say N equals small m divided by capital M. 0,625 equals m divided by, and please show that number separately where you calculate capital M, the molar mass. That will be 1 plus 127, and it gives me 128 grams per mole. Boys and girls, please don't write the numbers adding them together. In the final exam, we don't have to do the time to do the calculation for you. We must just give a mark for substituting 128. So I must just give a tick there. I don't want to add the things together to get to 128. There's not enough time to do that. Okay, 0,625 times 128 gives you then 80 grams. Okay, so the final answer for this question is then 80 grams. So I've done this one. It is difficult because I wanted to show you two things. The first thing I wanted to show you, the end of the first equilibrium was the start of the second equilibrium. And then if I don't have anything, I'm going to use x, and then there's a lot of mathematics then further. Please attempt something. Then I can give you marks. If you don't attempt anything, I can't give you anything. So please don't leave us open spaces, because then I must draw you open spaces. We call it zeros. Okay, so I can't do that. That is very important. Please attempt something when you do the calculations. Okay, I see there's some 5 minutes left, but now I'm just going to go with you quickly through the other table. There won't be time to do a whole calculation, but I want to go through the two tables. You will see there's a table for reaction rate and there's a table for chemical equilibrium. If I look at reaction rate, that is the one quick. Okay, so I must do quick. I have 5 minutes. I must do quick. Reaction rate is not a cast in stone formula. You must have a look at the units that they're going to give you, what you must put in the table. So there's some options that are given you. The rate of the reaction can be the moles of products divided by time, then it's moles per second. Now, boys and girls, if this counts 3 marks, then it means you take your graph, you put in the value on the y-axis, divided by the value on the x-axis, you use your calculator and you get an answer. But if it counts 4 marks, then you must change either the top or the bottom. So maybe on the graph, they give you the time in minutes. So now you must change it to seconds because they want the answer in moles per second. Or if it counts 5 or 6 marks, then you must change the top and the bottom to get to the answer. So that's very important. So there's different ones there. And when they tell you the average reaction rate, you don't have to divide by 2 or 3 or whatever. It only means the graph is not a straight line, but I'm treating it as a straight line. So you're not going to divide something there. You must please know the collision theory. I'm not sure those booklets that you received from the department. In the Afrikaans, it's page 63 and 64. I'm not sure if it's in English the same 2 pages. But you must really just learn those by heart. If you see the collision theory, there's just 4 options. So it's like when you study, it's like a sponge sucking up the information. When you go to the page, the sponge is going to give you the information. So there's just 4. Please go and study them. But if you look for all 4 of them, they say more effective collisions per unit of time. The word effective must be there because otherwise it's not going to happen. And per unit of time, because then you include all the reactions, because all reactions doesn't happen in seconds. Some of them take days even if you do the organic chemistry. So that is important. So please know your collision theory. And then I've made a summary there for you again. You see my table. I like the tables. If I do the factor, now there's 5 factors. Concentration of, you must tell me what, zinc or whatever, HCl. The temperature, catalyst, surface area, nature of what? Hydrochloric acid. Now the concentration, if I increase the concentration, I increase the rate because then concentration is directly proportional to the amount of mole. But then volume must be constant. Temperature, that's the most logic one. If I increase the temperature, I increase the rate. So I understand that you're a little slow now because the temperature is low. So it's a science problem. Okay, the temperature is low, your kinetic energy is low. I understand it. Okay, so the temperature is directly proportional to the average kinetic energy there. Then catalyst, if I add the catalyst, it increases the rate because I lower the activation energy. I give an alternative path. Surface area. Just think about the following. If I have a headache, I can drink a grandpa pill. And then I drink it. It must first go into my stomach. The acid in my stomach must eat it until powder. The powder must react. Then it must send the message, make the headache better. But that can take 30 to 45 minutes. But now, it's an extreme headache. So now I take a grandpa powder. And I drink the powder. And then it's already powder. It goes into my stomach. It immediately reacts. And it can cure my headache in 15 minutes. Okay, so that is about surface area. The amount of moles of the reaction increases. And then the nature of the reagents. If the bonds are strong, it takes longer to break them. So boys and girls, what you must remember on reaction rate, you must either make the particles more or they must move faster. That's the important thing there. So I really hope you enjoyed the lesson of today. And I will be seeing you somewhere during the exam again to go through old question papers.